All I'm simply saying is,
So Charlotte, you can't
didn't
DJ
snake
Khaled
him.
this one. You
No,
gotta pick it.
I'm saying
They've been vocal this week too.
yes. And if you ask me, Jay-Z didn't snake them. That's my personal.
So they're
opinion.
idiots.
What? Who said that?
Well, they feel the exact opposite. So it's either they didn't do something. There's no way.
Charlemagne, that God's name suddenly appeared on an official New York State disclosure filing tied to Roc Nation's ambitious Times Square casino proposal, and that changes the entire conversation. Think about it for a second. This is the same radio personality who spent months criticizing Drake over gambling-related controversies while presenting himself as an unbiased voice in hip-hop media. Yet behind the scenes, he was identified as a financial stakeholder in a multi-billion-dollar casino project backed by Jay-Z's company. His listeners never heard about it. There was no on-air disclosure. He even spoke at Manhattan community meetings in support of the casino proposal moving ahead. And all the while, he reportedly stood to benefit financially if the license was approved. You won't believe who pushed this into the spotlight. DJ Akademiks was the one who forced the conversation into the open. That's the story people should really be paying attention to, not just another rap feud. The beef is only the distraction. The bigger issue is the growing belief that influential voices in hip-hop media may have financial interests the public never knew about, and many people now believe this filing is the evidence that sparked that debate.
Because I think people like you would want the audience to believe that Drake legit just took 2 years before this Iceman situation that he's, just back #1 again, just because a rap battle. No, there was narratives.
That's another false narrative.
There was narratives that spawned.
He didn't take no time off.
No, hold on. No, it's not about time off.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that he's back like he never missed a step, in my opinion.
He never went nowhere.
Okay, but you're not yet.
We're acting like the Party Next Door album didn't have.
Here's my perspective on all of this. I'm not interested in declaring either side the winner in the Charlemagne versus Akademiks clash. From where I'm sitting, both figures have been accused of having relationships or interests that raise questions about their independence. Akademiks proudly wears his OVO chain and is widely known for defending Drake whenever criticism comes his way, leading many fans to believe his loyalty is obvious. On the other side, Charlemagne's reported involvement in the Roc Nation-backed casino project has fueled claims that he's just as protective of Jay-Z's camp. That's why a lot of people no longer view either of them as completely neutral voices. Many fans argue they're not acting like traditional journalists. Instead, critics see two influential media personalities tied to competing power circles, spending hours debating while their own perceived conflicts remain part of the conversation. The biggest difference, according to those critics, is simply where each person's loyalty lies. And somehow, the audience is expected to choose a side. Come on now. The only side worth defending is the fans, the people who tuned in expecting honest opinions about the culture they care about. Those are the people who risk being left in the dark. Throughout that marathon discussion, many viewers felt their interests were never the main priority. But to understand why this rivalry became so personal, you have to look at how it all started, because the backstory explains everything. Akademiks and Charlemagne weren't always rivals. There was a time when Charlemagne publicly supported AK as he was building his name on YouTube during the mid-2010s. Their connection wasn't fake, it was a genuine mentor and protege relationship. Charlemagne helped create opportunities, he offered guidance and industry advice, he treated Akademiks like someone he wanted to see succeed. So when their relationship eventually broke down, it wasn't over something small. According to many observers, the tension can be traced back to Jay-Z's celebration of the 30th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. New York was filled with pop-up events, Apple Music partnerships, and Roc Nation branding everywhere you looked. Around that time, much of hip-hop media appeared to celebrate Jay-Z almost in unison. Akademiks looked at that wave of praise and voiced a suspicion that many people were already whispering. He questioned whether some of the positive coverage was completely organic. That's when the conversation reportedly shifted toward Roc Nation, leading AK to directly ask why Charlemagne seemed so determined to defend the company whenever its name came up.
And then we started talking about Roc Nation. I'm like, yo, what's up with you and Roc Nation? Why do you go so hard at Roc Nation?
So can I ask you, because everything
Can you
I'm
tell the
saying...
people what you told me when I asked you that, though?
What?
Because you didn't tell me all of this about depositions and all that shit like that. You told me that...
What?
You said, I feel like a lot of us online...
He even took the conversation to X, saying it genuinely hurt him to watch someone he once considered a hip-hop media role model repeat what he described as Roc Nation talking points. He claimed the rest of the media had become nothing more than shills. According to him, the mask had finally come off. The interesting part is that plenty of people agreed with the criticism itself. The problem, many argued, was the messenger. Akademiks was accusing one side of bias, while critics said he was showing the same kind of loyalty to the opposite camp. Before all of that, he had already taken direct shots at Roc Nation, claiming the company was trying to control authentic hip-hop conversations through lawsuits and influence. It's a memorable line, no doubt, but hearing it from someone widely associated with OVO made plenty of viewers question the consistency. And that's where the story takes another unexpected turn. Charlemagne didn't respond with a serious denial. Instead, he chose humor. He visited one of the Reasonable Doubt anniversary pop-up events, pulled out his phone, and started filming himself shopping for merchandise. Smiling, he joked about checking whether his Roc Nation employee discount would actually work. Afterward, he even posted that the discount had worked. At the time, it looked like he was simply mocking the accusations. The goal seemed to be making the criticism look so ridiculous that nobody would take it seriously. But then something happened that completely changed how many people viewed that moment. Weeks later, public attention shifted to the New York State disclosure connected to the Times Square casino proposal. Suddenly, what sounded like a harmless joke didn't feel so harmless to many observers. Some critics began arguing it resembled a statement hiding in plain sight rather than simple comedy. While everyone was laughing, the disclosure filing already existed, and that's exactly why this casino issue has become the biggest piece of the entire story. According to publicly discussed disclosure documents, Charlemagne's name appeared in connection with Roc Nation's involvement in the proposed Times Square casino project. The proposal reportedly brought together 4 major partners: SL Green, Caesars, Live Nation, and Roc Nation. This wasn't a small business venture, but a multi-million-dollar development proposal. During that period, Charlemagne also publicly spoke about attending community meetings alongside Fat Joe to discuss the project with local residents. He described participating in Manhattan town hall events where they encouraged people to consider the potential benefits of bringing a casino to Times Square. Those appearances reportedly continued over several months. That's why the disclosure has become such a major talking point, with critics arguing that his public advocacy deserved greater transparency once questions about financial interests began to surface.
No way I know what's really going on. Like, you don't see this? That's the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, but that's polymarket. Like, that type of stuff is always gonna happen.
Read the first one.
Now picture that moment for yourself. A respected radio personality walks into a neighborhood town hall where local residents are genuinely worried about how a casino could change their community. They trust his voice, and he encourages them to keep an open mind. He uses the influence and credibility he's built over the years to help persuade the crowd. But according to critics, there was one detail they never heard. At no point, they argue, did he publicly say, "I could personally benefit if this project moves forward." That's why some people don't see it as simple advocacy. They see it as promoting a project without fully explaining a potential financial interest. And these weren't strangers. They were members of the same community and many of the listeners who helped build his platform. When Akademiks later challenged him over the issue, Charlemagne's response caught plenty of attention. His defense was that the information was already part of the public record. That was the explanation. He didn't argue that he had repeatedly disclosed it to his audience. He didn't claim he had openly discussed any possible financial connection during those conversations. Instead, the point was that anyone could have found the documents if they searched hard enough. Critics say that's very different from proactively being transparent. In their view, transparency means telling your audience directly, not relying on paperwork that most people would never think to look for. He also pushed back by saying that not everyone listed under Roc Nation on the documents actually works for Roc Nation. Fair enough, but many people believe that still doesn't answer the bigger question. Names generally don't appear on official state disclosure filings without some connection to the project being disclosed. According to critics, the issue isn't employment, it's whether someone has a financial interest if the proposal succeeds. Charlemagne himself acknowledged that he would only receive equity if the casino project ultimately secured its license. That word, equity, became a major focus of the debate. So critics argue the situation is straightforward. He acknowledged a potential financial interest, publicly supported the proposal, and never directly explained that connection to many of the people hearing his advocacy. Now he points to the existence of a government filing as proof that nothing was hidden. But for many observers, that explanation hasn't ended the controversy. It has only fueled more questions.
Let me give you something on clipping. Clipping is the most normal and it's the most effective way to promote anything these days. I'm telling you these things as facts.
Yeah.
Epic Records just dropped the budget over $100,000.
And this is where the controversy becomes even more complicated. During the same period, Charlemagne was publicly criticizing the online gambling platforms connected to Drake-related legal disputes. He discussed stake, crypto casinos, and the concerns surrounding those platforms. At the same time, critics point out that he was also connected to a proposed project involving a physical casino. That's the contradiction Akademiks keeps highlighting. On this specific issue, many people believe he raised a legitimate question. They argue it's difficult to criticize one segment of the gambling industry while supporting another in which you could potentially have a financial interest. That, according to critics, goes beyond simple commentary. They believe it creates the appearance of defending one business model while attacking another. And one of Akademiks' strongest arguments centered on a single point. He claimed the real issue wasn't the advocacy itself, it was the lack of openly explaining any business connection before encouraging public support. That's the debate in its simplest form. Advocacy without what critics believe was sufficient disclosure. Charlemagne publicly supported the proposed casino project during community discussions and argued that it could benefit the neighborhood. Critics say he never directly told those audiences that he could receive equity if the project ultimately moved forward. When Akademiks pressed him on that point, Charlemagne responded that his disclosure obligations were to government regulators and his employer, iHeart, rather than to his audience. Many people immediately noticed who wasn't included in that explanation: his listeners, the people who hear him every day. That's why critics say the disagreement isn't only about legal disclosure requirements, but also about public trust. They argue transparency should extend beyond regulators and employers to the audience itself. Charlemagne's response was that he never criticized casinos or gambling as a whole, only alleged illegal conduct connected to certain online gambling platforms. That's a distinction he believes is important. Critics, however, argue that the distinction conveniently separates the gambling businesses he criticized from the project he publicly supported. Whether people agree with that argument or not, it's become one of the central questions in this entire debate. Finally, Charlemagne noted that the casino proposal never received the license, meaning he never actually obtained any equity. Critics respond that the controversy isn't about whether he ultimately profited, it's about whether the potential financial interest should have been more clearly disclosed while he was publicly advocating for the project.
Have your opinion about an artist. I can have my opinion about an artist. That don't mean the fan bases gotta hate each other. That's some Republican Democrat.
Yeah, but all this, I told you, it started with Kendrick and Drake.
That's
Hip-hop
dumb,
is
though.
never- it's
you
never-
help, you help fuel that too.
Now, it's only fair to turn the spotlight on Akademiks, because he shouldn't get a free pass in this conversation either. He's presenting himself as the person exposing Roc Nation's influence over hip-hop media, but critics argue his own record deserves just as much scrutiny. This is someone who proudly wears an OVO chain and has spent much of the Drake era defending Drake, celebrating his commercial success, minimizing criticism, and framing many of his biggest moments in a positive light. Charlemagne confronted him about that directly during their exchange. He pointed to the OVO chain as evidence that Akademiks' loyalties are just as obvious as the ones he's accusing others of having. And when that accusation came back at him, many viewers felt Akademiks didn't offer a response that completely erased those concerns. Whether fans agree or disagree, the perception remains that Akademiks is closely aligned with Drake, in much the same way critics believe Charlemagne is aligned with Jay-Z. That's why the debate feels so unusual. It's two influential media personalities accusing each other of the very same conflict of interest. And that's what makes the entire back and forth so fascinating to watch. Then there's the separate controversy involving George Guillen, which many people consider one of the most serious issues surrounding Akademiks' platform. According to multiple reports, Akademiks TV, a secondary page associated with his brand, has been operated by a man identified as George Guillen, also known online as Grand Wizard, who is reportedly based in Australia. Critics have accused that page of posting highly offensive and racist content, including repeated use of racial slurs while commenting on Black American culture and hip-hop. The account has also been linked to posts resurfacing old court records and clips used to criticize Charlemagne. Reports have further claimed that a private investigator examined the page's activity, while Australian media outlets also covered allegations surrounding Guillen. Those reports have become another major point of controversy, adding yet another layer to an already heated dispute that extends far beyond a simple disagreement between two media personalities.
No, listen.
If coordinates would just sit down, all right, if you really were, like, you would have still had a conversation with Desiree then, and be like, hey, listen, you know, there's a lot of other people, because I think you're getting caught in a crossfire when you're Desiree's Australia laptop.
I would have told Desiree the same thing I tell everybody about.
So you would have still had that conversation. You still never did.
Listen, I would have told him the same thing.
Now stop and think about that for a moment. According to the allegations, a man based in Australia who reportedly used the online name Grand Wizard, a title historically associated with the Ku Klux Klan, was operating a page connected to a major hip-hop media brand while posting racist language about the very culture that made that platform successful. When those accusations gained attention, critics expected a firm response. Instead, Akademiks defended the page and argued it was being unfairly targeted. He also claimed people had shown up at George's home and suggested Roc Nation was behind the harassment. Rather than focusing on the allegations surrounding the account itself, his attention shifted toward criticizing Jay-Z's company. That's the part many observers found surprising. They expected stronger questions about why someone using that online identity was connected to a page carrying his brand. And for critics, that response only created even more controversy instead of bringing the issue to an end. Here's what many people find difficult to reconcile. Akademiks, who was born in Jamaica and later built his career covering American hip-hop culture, has been criticized for allowing someone outside that culture to help operate a page accused of using offensive language against it. Critics argue that it goes far beyond journalism or commentary. They see it as benefiting from a culture while failing to protect or respect it. From their perspective, it's hard to present yourself as an authentic voice in hip-hop if a platform associated with your brand is linked to those kinds of allegations. They also point out that attempting to distance yourself from a page that prominently carries your own name raises obvious questions about accountability. Whether people agree with those criticisms or not, they've become a significant part of the broader conversation surrounding academics. And once you put all of these pieces together, you begin to understand why this dispute has grown into something much bigger than a personal feud between two media personalities.
Big is coming at us.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
No,
We
no.
gotta be with somebody big too. Which
No,
is
no, no,
Drake.
no, 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 no.
That's exactly what you said
No,
to me.
I repeat what I said.
Okay.
I said, these days, what online is, because now everything they try to throw me into, they throw Drake into like we're teammates, right? Drake's my man. He gave me a chain like that's my man. But
When you step back and look at the bigger picture, this doesn't feel like a battle over principles as much as a fight for influence. Many critics see it as two powerful camps, Roc Nation on one side and Drake's Circle on the other, using high-profile media personalities to defend their respective interests. Charlemagne is often accused of favoring Jay-Z's side, while Akademiks is widely viewed as one of Drake's strongest media supporters. That 3-hour sit-down both men uploaded wasn't seen by everyone as a search for the truth. To many viewers, it looked more like a carefully packaged media event. Two influential creators turned their disagreement into content that would generate millions of views, conversations, and revenue. In that sense, even the controversy became part of the product. Every accusation created another headline, every response fueled another debate, and every click benefited both platforms. That's why some critics argue that regardless of who appeared to win, both sides ultimately profited from the attention. One detail that stood out to many people was Akademiks' reported insistence on filming the discussion at a neutral location, rather than on established shows like Flagrant or Brilliant Idiots. The idea, according to the discussion, was for both creators to upload the conversation independently so each could benefit from the traffic. Critics argue that doesn't look like two people trying to resolve a disagreement. It looks like two experienced content creators maximizing engagement. They turned what was presented as a serious reckoning into a major content release, with both videos going live on the same day. If the only goal had been transparency, many people believe the focus wouldn't have been on distribution strategy or view counts. Instead, the rollout itself became part of the story. Meanwhile, supporters of Akademiks continue pointing to the publicly discussed New York State casino disclosure involving Charlemagne and the Roc Nation-backed proposal, arguing it represents the strongest documented element of the entire controversy. Others point to years of commentary from figures like Funk Flex and Joe Budden, who previously questioned media relationships within hip-hop. Whether those criticisms are ultimately fair is still debated, but this latest feud has undeniably brought long-standing questions about influence, financial interests, and transparency in hip-hop media back into the spotlight.
is that before? Like, put it like this.
But I never said nothing publicly. I said something to
No.
you.
No.
privately on Friday.
Yeah, but of course I'm gonna tell my man. Like
Sure, but
if I don't tell my
that
man,
gives
like,
him license to just start going crazy on me.
Here's the part that many people find most unsettling. If Charlemagne and Akademiks had never turned on each other, critics argued the questions surrounding the casino disclosure might never have reached the mainstream. And if the controversy involving the page allegedly operated by someone using the name Grand Wizard had never surfaced, many viewers may have accepted Akademiks' criticism without asking tougher questions. Neither revelation emerged because one side suddenly chose complete transparency. Instead, both issues gained attention during an increasingly personal public feud. That's what makes this situation so unusual. The biggest talking points didn't come from independent disclosures. They came from two influential figures trying to discredit one another. In many ways, the information became collateral damage in a much larger battle. And for many observers, that's the most disappointing part. They believe the public learned these details by circumstance rather than through a genuine commitment to openness. Transparency wasn't the strategy. It became an unintended consequence of the conflict. At the center of all this are the fans, the listener who follows academics believing they're getting an unfiltered perspective, the Breakfast Club audience that tunes in expecting Charlemagne's opinions to be independent and straightforward. Critics argued those audiences deserve complete transparency whenever powerful business relationships could shape the conversation. That's why many believe the real issue isn't simply the feud itself, but the trust between influential media personalities and the millions of people who rely on them. Throughout hours of public debate, many viewers felt very little attention was given to that relationship with the audience. Instead, the focus remained on winning the argument, controlling the narrative, and generating engagement. The discussion has also reignited broader conversations about influence within hip-hop media, where personalities like Akademiks, Joe Budden, and Charlemagne rank among the culture's most recognizable voices. When some of the biggest names in the space become involved in controversies over alleged conflicts of interest, critics argue it naturally raises larger questions about independence, credibility, and accountability across the industry. Whether people agree with that conclusion or not, it's a debate that isn't likely to disappear anytime soon.
Fuel that divine, because
Keep in mind, the first time George was mentioned, they pulled up on me at a concert.
Because instead of just letting Drake get belt to ass, right?
You think I'm gonna let my man get jumped? I know it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But instead of
y'all were trying to.
As we close this one out, I want to leave you with a couple of questions that go beyond Charlemagne, Akademiks, or any single feud. If a media figure stands to potentially benefit from a project they're publicly supporting, should they tell their audience up front before encouraging people to back it? And if that information only exists in government paperwork instead of being openly discussed with viewers and listeners, do you consider that real transparency or just the bare minimum? There's one more question I think deserves serious attention. If a platform connected to a major hip-hop personality is associated with someone accused of using racist language while covering black culture, is there any explanation that makes that acceptable, no matter whose side you're on? Let me know where you stand in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.